So this is the introduction to the unit circle. You guys haven't seen the unit circle before, so it gets really confusing. All right. Unit circle is basically a circle with a diameter of 1. Okay, and we reference that to trigonometry. So we have 4 quadrants, quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. All of our trigonometric ratios are positive in quadrant 1. Only sine is positive in quadrant 2. Only tan is positive in quadrant 3, and only cos is positive in quadrant 4. So to give you some idea of what this actually means, if you take a line and you trace the circle, you'll actually end up with the sine graph as you go around. Okay, so or the cos graph or the tan graph. Okay, so if we say that the y values are sine and x values are cos, okay, so at 0 degrees, what's cos? 1. At 90 degrees, what's sine? At 180 degrees, what's cos? Alright, and what's sine at 270? Okay, so that's the basis of the unit circle. So the way this works is you always measure your angle from your 0. So this is 0 or 360. Okay, this is 90, 180, 270. Okay, so you always measure your angle from your 0 line. So you always measure it anti-clockwise. Okay, which is kind of backwards to what we normally do, but you always measure up that way. Alright, so if we look at sine 30, for example, that will actually be 0.5. Okay, and for cos it'll be whatever this value is here. Okay, so that's actually how this works, is you actually trace that unit circle. So you always go out a length of 1 and up the angle you need. Alright, so the real problem comes from how we use this information. Okay, and it does ask you in this chapter about exact values, and I'm not 100% sure, I haven't chased this up yet, whether you get these exact values given to you in your exams next year. Alright, I will probably give them to you this year, or whether you need to have them in your summary book. But have a look on page 273, and you get the exact values in degrees for what turns out to be the whole unit circle, and we'll discuss that when we get to 6D. Alright, so the exact value of sine 30 is 1/2. Cos 30 is root 3 over 2. Okay, you'll also notice that these exact values have all been rationalised. In that table they are rationalised. In the back of the book I've noticed that sometimes they actually leave them as irrational, not rationalised. Okay, so 1 on root 2, okay, one thing they don't like is square roots on the bottom. Okay, so what you end up doing, and I'll show you how to rationalise really quick, is you multiply by root 2 over root 2. Okay, so you end up with root 2 over 2. So that's what you've got in your table for sine 45 and cos 45, but that is sometimes the answer they use in the back of the book. But they are one and the same thing if you rationalise it, because timesing by root 2 over 2 is timesing by 1. Okay, so it hasn't actually changed my value at all, it's just changed the way it looks. So either of those is acceptable, and the same for any of them. If they have a square root on the bottom, just hit the approximation button, you know, the little squiggly equals sign on your calculator to get up what the decimal is, and check it against the one you've got if you're concerned. Otherwise, ask me. Alright, but into the exercise, question 1 asks you just to state whether something is positive or negative. Okay, so looking at a unit circle, knowing that all are positive here, sine, tan and cos are positive there, is sine 40 positive or negative? Where's 40 degrees? Okay, it's in quadrant 1, so it's between 0 and 90, and it means anything is positive. So sine 40 is going to be? Positive. Okay, what about sine 215? Alright, so 215 is down in quadrant 3, which means it's going to be negative. Okay, because only tan is positive in quadrant 3. So if we have a look at cos 115, where's 115 is the first question to answer? It's in quadrant 2, top left. Okay, which means cos of that angle is
Negative.
negative. All right. So one more on tan. So tan of negative 45. Where is negative 45? Down the bottom here. So you come negative. So if you're going that way, it's positive. If you come this way, it's negative. So negative 45 is down in quadrant 4, and we're chasing tan. Is tan positive or negative in that quadrant? Okay. So what happens if we do? There's an example here of what is it? Cos 402. Where's that? All right, you go round once, 360, and then you work out how much further you've got to go. So if we're going to 402, it's another 42 up. So we're still in this quadrant here, so it's going to be positive. All right, so if they've got numbers bigger than 360, ignore or take away 360, and that's the angle you're chasing. All right, if it's still over 360, once you take away one lot of 360, take away another one. So if it's at 900, take away 2 lots of 360 and you'll get the angle you're actually chasing. All right. So most of that chapter is just about that sort of stuff. Where is it positive? Where is it negative? It does ask you to use the exact values table at some point in there. All right. So use that value, use those values to give the exact value. So root 2 on 2 or root 3 on 2 or anything like that. All right.